All right, so I got 2 more bases finished sanded and ready for their finish. These are gonna be the last 2 that I do just all natural. I would like to try staining Sisu in the future, but not on this one. This one is just gonna look so good, all natural. This is that special black walnut, that awesome swirly grain pattern in it. And again, just wanna see how this looks all natural before I try staining black walnut. So I'm just gonna go straight to shellacking these. So this base here is the only one that the person who pre-ordered it actually had a finish in mind that they wanted. They wanted something that was pretty much exactly like the Rick and Jasper that I made a few months ago. But we'll go ahead and just start with the black, and then, you know, of course, we'll sand it back and put on the blue. Alright, so for this last one, this elm, the person who pre-ordered it, they kind of gave me full creative liberty, but they did mention, just for reference, 2 finishes that they liked. They liked the denim burst on the Rick and Jasper, which I already did, so I'm not going to do that one on this batch. But they also said that they really liked the ebony color that I did on the Pirate Falcon like years ago, like almost 5 years ago now. And I think that is a perfect candidate for this finish. With this elm, it's definitely an open grain wood. And I think a lot of that deep, almost black color will soak into the wood grain, and then I'll sand it back a little bit to relic it, make it kind of look like the black pearl. That's the reason why I called that the Pirate Falcon, because I thought that it looks like a pirate ship. And so we'll kind of get a similar effect, I think, on this. I'm really excited. I think it's going to look really good. Well guys, I'm afraid I hit a little bit of a snag, sort of a minor setback here. As I pulled this neck out to do the fret work on it, I was just double checking real quick with my fret rocker, and just noticed some frets were really uneven, which I had already leveled these frets, so that was weird. So I double checked, and unfortunately, while this thing was sitting in the storage shed, it twisted beyond usability. And it's kind of frustrating, but that's kind of what happens in northern Arizona. The temperature doesn't regulate very well. I checked all the other ones. The other ones are all still fine, so I moved them to a climate-controlled environment until I can finishing them. But this thing, you know, just left raw, unfinished in a non-climate controlled storage shed. That's what happens. But I'm going to look on the bright side of things. Firstly, this gives me the opportunity to try to do a repair, a heavy-duty repair. So that'll be a fun little challenge down the road. I'm not going to let the whole net go to waste. Secondly, of course, I planned for something like this might happen, so I have a couple extra necks on hand that I checked are still good. So I'm just going to replace, this one was supposed to be for the elm one that looks like a pirate ship with the ebony stain. And so I'm going to be giving one of my other necks to that build, and I'll save this one for a future build. But thirdly, I've been wanting to make a video for a while now on the Baroque Generation 4 fret crowning file versus the StewMac basic fret crowning file. I bought this because, you know, I'm becoming more of a professional luthier these days. I'm trying to get my own guitar brand launched. And as you know, I've been a huge fan of the Baroque files for years now, especially the Gen 1 file, which I had to stop talking about because I stopped making it. Gen 2 was an abomination. Gen 3 was back to usable, but still not great. Gen 4, is great. But I decided to invest in the StewMac one, which costs roughly twice the price, because I'm like, if I'm a professional now, I better have professional tools. So I want to talk about the benefits and drawbacks to both of these. So I'm going to pause my manufacturing real quick to make a video on the StewMac file versus the Baroque file. Hey guys, good news. As you can see, we got a bit of a change of scenery, and that's because the tenants that were living in my in-laws' house moved out, and just kind of out of the blue, my in-laws invited me to use the garage space as my workshop until our land is ready. So I'm really stoked about that, especially because here in northern Arizona, we are entering monsoon season, which means that there's going to be really unpredictable thunderstorms pretty much every afternoon from here on out for the rest of the summer. So I'm very grateful to be in a more controlled environment. Of course, this is again a very temporary setup, so the acoustics are not great. The lighting is of course not great, so I'll see if I can do something about that while I'm here, but just bear with me. I'm just gonna be using this until our land is ready for us to move on to. Now, quick update on the land. I know a lot of you guys have been asking if we hit water with our well, and the news is no news. We are still waiting on our state level permit to drill the well. We got the county permit, still waiting on the state level permit. We were supposed to have this done months ago and have the well drilled by now, so still just kind of in that holding pattern. So don't worry, I will make a video updating you guys on the well situation, and I appreciate your guys' prayers in the meantime. Now this base turned out beautiful, and this is a really good example of if you just order a base model of my behemoth prototype base, okay? It's got my standard custom wound jazz pickups that have just a really nice smooth mid-range that I really love, and the standard wiring. You got your series and parallel switch for the two pickups, and then your split stereo output, or if you're using the series mode, it's a blower switch. The other bases that I'm building in this video have slightly different pickup configurations. So this is going to be a good sort of control group for us comparing what the different pickup configurations and layouts sound like. Cool. So that one's done and ready to be shipped. Now this one, I got it finished with the stain, and I love how it turned out, but I felt like something was kind of missing. So I talked to the client about it, and we agreed that it needed a custom engraving. And so after kind of spitballing some ideas and getting some inspiration, we landed on doing an engraving inspired by Psalm 150. It's one of my favorite chapters in the Bible, and the person who bought this base is a Christian brother, and they're going to be using this base to serve on their worship team, which is absolutely awesome. And on the back here, I don't know if you can see it very well, but we have another engraving, which this is the ancient Hebrew for the last line of the Psalm that just says, "Let everything that has breath praise the Lord, hallelujah." I love this. I really think that this engraving took it to the next level. You might notice the pickups are a little bit different. Okay, these are similar to the other ones, except for they have 1/4-inch Alnico 5 rod magnets on them, so a little bit more powerful, a little bit more dynamic, and again, custom wound to my specs. You can't get these anywhere except from me when you order a base. Cool. And this one is done and ready to ship. Now we got this beautiful black walnut base, And I went back and forth on whether to use a pick guard on this one or not. And I landed on using the pick guard just because I really like the light and dark contrast. And like I mentioned before so many times, I love the shape of the pick guard. I think it adds to the overall aesthetic. But this wood is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, there's so much depth and dimension in it, especially the area that's covered by the pick guard. So I definitely would not blame the client if they decide they want to take it off. Of course, the beauty of my design is that you can see, screw this pick guard. Now you'll notice that this pickup setup is a PJ setup, and I love the tone of a good PJ. So these have the standard 3/16. Again, custom wound to my spec from my custom shop, and they just sound freaking killer. Check it out. Cool, that one's ready to ship. We have another PJ layout, and again, went back and forth on the pick guard. Both looked cool, but ultimately I decided that I think that this Sisu was just way too beautiful to cover up with a pick guard. So I took it off, at least for this video. I'm gonna ship it with the base so the client can decide if they want it or not. You'll notice that this PJ setup has the larger 1/4 inch rod magnets on it. Now I could kind of describe the difference for you, but I think it's best if you guys just use your ears and decide which you like better. Getting the 1/4 inch rod magnets instead of the 3/16 magnets is not a paid upgrade. It's just a standard option. However, doing the PJ setup over a jazz bass setup is a $20 upgrade. Now, $20 obviously not very much money. If you prefer the tone of a PJ over a jazz bass, it's well worth the investment. Cool. And that one is done and ready to ship. All right, guys, let's sit down and talk business a little bit for those of you who are interested in this. It's kind of the reason why I was making this video. Some of you might be considering starting a small business around building guitars and basses, and I just wanted to share my overall experience with you guys. Now, when I built my original prototype, I logged 18.5 hours. Now, I logged these hours a little bit different, okay? For the original prototype, I only logged the hours that I was actually physically working. That means I didn't log lunch breaks or coffee breaks or setup or cleanup or anything like that. It was just actual hours working on the instruments. And I decided, since I'm going into a potential career, that I don't want to be an hourly employee. I want to be more of a salary employee. So I actually logged my total hours for the day on these builds. So what I came up with was a total of 134.5 hours total for all 6 basses, which averages out to about 22.5 hours each bass, which is not bad considering I'm getting paid for my lunch breaks, getting paid for my coffee breaks, getting paid to take my dog out to go to the bathroom, you know, all that stuff. So now by building 6 at a time, I was obviously trying to save time in the manufacturing process, and I definitely did. It's just not reflected in this log. So the total overhead costs for manufacturing these basses, the best I can calculate it, it's a little bit difficult because there's lots of, you know, supplies and disposables that you can't really put an exact dollar amount, so just kind of guesstimating. But total overhead was about $3,415. Total money received, that's all the money that I received after PayPal fees and tax and all that, was $6,805 for a profit of $3,390.27. So divide that by the hours I put in, and that comes out to, well, I was hoping between $35 and $40 per hour, but pretty much what I said was if it comes in at less than $25 per hour, then I wasn't gonna do this, because honestly, for a skilled trade like this, I should be billing closer to like $70 an hour, but I love doing this and I want to continue doing this, and there's some value in that. So 35 to 40 is what I'm shooting for, but less than 25, not worth my time in my opinion. I'd rather just make videos and gear reviews. And so the average dollar per hour came out to a just barely $25.20 per hour. So that's enough for me to continue because I can certainly streamline these processes a little bit better. And the more buying power that I get, the more money that I make, the more I can invest into buying more stuff in bulk, then I will be able to make a little bit more that way by getting better prices on things. And so I definitely think that I can get to that $35 to $40 an hour. Now, like I said, if I had logged my hours like I did before, I think I'd probably be there because I'd definitely be closer probably to about 16 hours each build. And I think that would push me up quite a bit more. Now, that being said, I'm making enough that I'm going to do another round of pre-orders, and we'll get into that in just a bit. I think I'm also going to offer these as a kit option just because I am really excited to see what you guys do with it. So if you want a neck and body only, the body will be shaped and routed to whatever pickup specifications you want, and then the neck will just come as a blank neck. And you guys can build one yourself. I'm going to do that for $375. So again, that's just averaging out my $25 an hour plus my cost of materials, and that lands us at $375 for that. So I would offer the entire kit with all the hardware and pickups, except for, you know, I don't have any purchasing power. I'm not buying this stuff in bulk. I'm not getting any discounts, so it's really not worth my time to gather all the materials just to sell it back to you at cost. Let's go ahead and have a look at my inventory. So here I got 3 more options for black walnut. And these 2 I've already stabilized with a smoke colored epoxy. I'm gonna go ahead and just put some rubbing alcohol on this real quick so you can see what I mean here. So that's kind of what it's gonna look like there. Just so you can get an idea. Remember, I use sustainably harvested wood, so that means it's imperfect, so you're gonna see a lot of cracks and blemishes like that. So because I already did the epoxy work on these, they're gonna be a little bit more. Same with this one, I have not done yet. And as you can see, I haven't even cut it out, so you could probably barely see the trace on there. But look at this wood grain. I mean, I don't even need to put any isopropyl alcohol on this so you can see what the wood grain is gonna look like. That's gonna be beautiful. And then I love this. This is Siberian elm. So if you liked the way the orange base or the engraved base turned out, these were actually cut from the exact same tree. And just look at the wood grain on this. Obviously, I haven't run these through my router sled yet. They're a bit thick. And then this one has a little crack that will need to be stabilized with either some wood glue and sawdust or epoxy. So 3 really nice options right there. And remember, all of these are going to be available as a kit, you know, a neck and a body, or as a complete custom build. So just check out the link in the description or down in the first comment if you're interested in pre-ordering one of these. Here I bought another slab of sisu. So if you like those sisu instruments, this one is nearly all heartwood. There's only just a tiny bit of sapwood on it, which is really cool. I mean, look at that wood grain. I especially want to see what this sisu looks like with a little bit of stain on it. I think it's just going to look absolutely killer with some stain or some dye. I think it's going to be really cool. I know it already has like a brown, reddish tint to it, but I think putting some color on it, it's going to look really cool. So this thing's big enough that I could get probably 3 bodies out of it. So I'll trace them on and list those for sale on the website. And remember, because this is all sustainably harvested by locals who are just, you know, fire-wising down trees and stuff, I don't always get to pick the best wood, so I'm really stoked that I found this slab. This is really rare for at least my part of the United States. This is black acacia wood. And look how freaking beautiful that is. I think I can get 2 bodies out of this if I can avoid that damage or stabilize it with epoxy. I think either way would actually be pretty cool. So, and then here we have, I guess we'll just call it less sustainably harvested wood. And really, I just got this at the request of you guys. Some of you guys had mentioned that you wanted a lightweight version. And so my bases, they're not the heaviest design, but they're not super light. Most of them average between, I think, 8 and 9 pounds. This is Paulownia. And Paulownia is extremely lightweight and it has a really beautiful wood grain pattern. So I hand selected these. I got 6 of them. This is a 5-piece body. The rest of them are all 3-piece bodies. I mean, this is so lightweight that it's like stupid. I've built some instruments out of Paulownia and they're great. I mean, we're talking probably overall it's going to be like around like 5 or 6 pounds all said and done. So if you've got back problems or you just are consistently playing really long set lists and you got to stand, this is definitely the wood that you want. I don't like that it's probably less sustainably harvested, but Paulownia is really hard to come by in the United States. And so I was happy that I got 6 of these. So obviously I'm showing you guys like 17 options for these custom builds. I am not taking on 17 pre-orders. I mean, it was very difficult just getting 6 done. So I think I'm going to take another 6 pre-orders unless people are buying kit versions, then I might take a few more. But just a heads up, I think the first 6 full custom builds that I get, I'm gonna go ahead and close pre-orders until the next round. I should mention that if you order a kit version, there's still gonna be quite a bit of a lead time because I gotta order the next from China, so they're gonna take like a month and a half-ish to get in. So expect 2 months before you get it. And then, of course, with the full custom builds, we're probably looking at about 4 or 5 months, if I'm being completely honest, because that's how long it took me this time. Hopefully I can get them done a little bit faster than that, but, you know, I move at the pace that I move at. So if you guys are interested, definitely click the links down in the description and the pinned comment, and you can pre-order. I'm Dan, this is Guns and Guitars, and I'll see you in the next video.